Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 26 based on novel. So let's start. Tang Wulin only had to wait less than half an hour before Mu Chen brought out 2 boxes and a small bottle, placing them in his hands. Treasuring their important weight, he took the 3 items. Tang Wulin didn't speak as he gave Mu Chen a deep bow. While putting icing on the cake was easy, gifting coal when snowing was hard. To him, these 3 items were the same as giving away coal when it was snowing. Senta Yu brought Tang Wulin with him to accept a task that could only be completed by a 3rd-rank blacksmith and then personally sent him out of the association. Afterward, he moved towards the highest level of the building, the office of Mu Chen, the president of East Sea City's Blacksmiths Association. Seeing him, Mu Chen smiled. "I knew you would come find me. President, we found the 3 items for him straight away. Do you think it was too easy for him to obtain it? If a youth acquires items this easily, they wouldn't know how to treasure it. Furthermore, hasn't the association given him too much preferential treatment? Doing this may not be advantageous to his growth," Senta Yu said with much doubt. Mu Chen grinned. "Those 3 items should be what he currently needs urgently. Didn't you notice? He looked quite anxious today. With his young age, he wouldn't be able to fake these signs. That means that he was in dire need of those 3 items, but he had some difficulty financially in acquiring them, thus his rush to sit the examination to qualify as a 3rd-rank blacksmith. This was so that he could accept tasks of higher rank and hence receive a greater sum of remuneration. I only made use of my authority and loaned these items to him. With his talent and potential, the association won't incur a loss. This is the first point. Secondly, you would also have noticed that he had completed the 3rd-rank examination easily. With your skills as a 6th-rank blacksmith, how long would it take you to 1,000 refine heavy silver? With your level of soul power and wealth of experience, would you be twice as fast as he is? Senta Yu didn't try to hide his deep thoughts. I can't deny that this child is a prodigy for being able to be one with the metal at such a young age, and whilst fully concentrated. He hadn't broken out of focus a single time during the entire process. It wouldn't be a problem for him to enter the spirit forging realm. Adding on his innate divine strength, even if he was restricted by his soul power, he would be capable of reaching 6th-rank blacksmith at the very least. He will definitely surpass Mang Qian. Mu Chen caught a gleam of admiration within Senta Yu's eyes. He grinned, saying, "Not only you, even I'm jealous of Mang Qian as well. He has truly found a genius that's out of this world. This child not only has a strong foundation, but is also very talented. You said that he wouldn't treasure those items because they were easily obtained. I'm not worried about that. It's very simple. For him to easily enter that state of concentration and understanding of the metals, it proves that this child has a calmness that surpasses his peers. Also, did you notice that all 3 items he needed were for increasing his body's strength? If I'm right, the greatest benefit from combining the Scarlet Flame Fruit and Ice Crystal Fruit would be that it promotes his physical strength by constantly forging it under fire and ice. With his innate divine strength, would increasing his physical strength be a bad thing? Blood from a dragon-type beast could be related to his martial soul. His eyes were also full of confidence when he collected those items, so I believe that giving those items to him will give him immense benefits. Actually, the question I'm considering is not if the association has given him too much preferential treatment, but rather, what methods should we utilize to assist him in increasing his soul power in the future? Although entering the spirit forging realm could be done with his innate divine strength and astounding perception, but to enter into the higher level, the soul forging realm, he would require even greater amounts of soul power to be able to support it." As Senta Yu listened to Mu Chen's analysis, an expression of admiration formed. He truly was worthy of the title of president. Within a few short moments of meeting Tang Wulin, he was able to deduce so much. Mu Chen lifted his head and looked at Senta Yu as he spoke deeply. "This child's existence must be kept a secret. We cannot let anybody from the other branches know about him. I am pinning my hopes onto him, so that when he reveals his true colors in the main association in the future, he will bring some glory to our branch." Center Yu laughed. Please rest assured, President. I have already informed the relevant people. I have always thought that you were impartial, but now it doesn't seem to be completely true. Hee hee. Mu Chen gave a sly grin. I'm very clear of what Mang Qian was thinking. This Tang Wulin kid, his ability to complete the 1,000 refinements definitely isn't something that had happened recently. It must have been Mang Qian that told him to hide it, that's why he didn't move up to the 3rd rank during his first examination. Mang Qian was really hoping that Tang Wulin would shock the world with his abilities in the future, eventually becoming a saint craftsman in the soul-forging realm. I have my own hopes as well. In the last 30 years, he is the only child I've seen who might be able to attain the heavenly refinements and become this generation's divine blacksmith genius. Sun with rays. Tang Wulin, however, was clueless about the high evaluations Mu Chen had given him. He didn't head back to the academy, instead, he had gone to the forging workshop not far from the association. Tang Wulin didn't know what would happen when he removed the seal. Until now, he was still unsure if the existence within his body was real. This trial would prove everything to him. He didn't want to attract any unwanted attention in the dormitory if something unexpected happened. Woo woo woo. Gales howled as the typhoon entered East Sea City, bringing heavy rain and strong currents of wind along with it. When Tang Wulin rushed into the workshop, it had already become dark and gloomy outside, and a thunderstorm had started. He forced the doors shut and checked the windows. The workshop was undoubtedly a sturdy place in itself. After he had done his checks, Tang Wulin let out a sigh of relief. Despite the endless humming of the wind and the pitter-patter of rain on the windows, Tang Wulin felt something strange inside of him. It was a blessed feeling. Yes. Despite the chaos brought about by the hurricane outside, he was fortunate enough to be able to hide within the solid walls of this small shelter, free from the attacks of the wind and rain. This was something to be blessed about, wasn't it? He took out the 3 items from the pale blue soul storage ring the association had given him and placed them on the table. Reaching out, he brought a chair towards him and sat down. His heartbeat visibly grew faster. The Golden Dragon King the golden figure spoke of should be real since there had been some strange occurrences in his body, and these 3 items should be of use in removing the first seal. Tang Wulin opened the first box with great care. The box was made out of exquisite material. Just by opening it, he felt a gush of hot air flowing from the box and into the room, increasing the room's temperature by a few degrees. It had also chased away the chill Tang Wulin had caught while escaping from the thunderstorm. There was a scarlet-colored fruit within the box, and it was a whole circle bigger than the fruit he saw at the auction house. The golden glow it emitted was also denser. Similarly, the heat waves coming from the top of the fruit was stronger. A mere look and Tang Wulin could imagine how blazing hot the fruit actually was. He quickly opened the second box. With a push to open the lid, he felt a wave of coolness creep from the box, filling the room that had just been warmed up by the scarlet flame fruit. With its chilliness, it brought down the temperature back to normal. Giving off a pale blue glow, the thumbnail-sized 100-year ice crystal fruit was resting in the box calmly, emitting a translucent light. Their mere appearances were sufficient in drawing stares and attention. Ice and fire, these 2 different elemental types had barely offset the other's effects and prevented the room's temperature from fluctuating. But as Tang Wulin opened the lid of the ice crystal fruit's box, he felt that the light it exuded had grown significantly stronger, as if it were trying to compete with the strength of its shine. What do I do now? Do I just eat them? Tang Wulin was a bit helpless at this moment. He didn't know how he should prepare these 2 fruits. After he felt the energy emitted from both fruits, he didn't dare to place them in his mouth. President Mu Chen had just told him that consuming spirit fruits would not necessarily bring him any benefits, as it might also produce adverse effects. It would be best to ask him then. Tang Wulin shut both his eyes and concentrated hard with all his might. He called out in his mind, "You there? I've found the 3 items, you there?" He didn't even know how to summon the golden figure, and this was the only method he could try. There was no reply. Tang Wulin felt somewhat foolish at that moment. Although the process of getting a hold of these 2 spirit fruits and the bottle of blood of a 100-year dragon-type soul beast was fairly easy, he would have to pay it back eventually. Could it be that it had been merely a dream? You have found everything. Just then, a calm voice sounded in his mind. You found everything? When he heard the voice, it was as if a gong had been struck inside his head, causing him to feel a bout of nausea as he once again entered that dark space. The ephemeral golden figure appeared before him. He hadn't entered this world in his sleep this time, but rather, he had entered while completely awake. For him, this confirmed that everything before his eyes was real. I think I have everything. Tang Wulin nervously looked at the golden figure before him before summoning up his courage to say, "What should I call you?" That golden figure seemed to freeze for a moment, before it slowly answered, "You can just call me Old Tang." Old Tang. He wasn't sure why, but when Tang Wulin said this name, a strange feeling stirred within his heart. His family name is also Tang, the same as me? It's just a name. Well then, time waits for no one. I have already sensed the aura of those 3 heaven and earth treasures. It must have been difficult for you to find them in such a short period of time. Are you ready to break the first seal now? Tang Wulin blinked in astonishment a few times. Do I still need to do any more preparations? Old Tang profoundly said, you need to prepare many things: endurance, strength, courage, and dedication. When you break the first seal, you will experience unfathomable suffering. This pain may drive you to insanity or cause you to give up. If you don't have the qualities I spoke of, then you will be unable to bear the seal's power. If you are driven to insanity, then you may lose all hope of recovering. Startled, Tang Wulin stared at Old Tang. You didn't tell me this last time. Last time you said I only needed to find these 3 items. Old Tang indifferently spoke, don't tell me you actually thought it would be so easy to undo the seal that is preventing your death. In this world, there is nothing you can obtain without putting in the work. In order to obtain something, you must pay forward an equivalent amount. Regardless of whether this happens in your life or in your cultivation, everything is like this. As a soul master, if you don't put in the hard work to withstand pain and loneliness surpassing others and possess a will stronger than ordinary people, how could you possibly become powerful? The situation you are currently faced with is also the same. The portion of the Golden Dragon King soul that is contained within this first seal will fuse with, and transform, your body. If the fusion succeeds, then your strength will increase in every aspect. In the process of fusing with it, the first thing you need to do is endure the pain. Although you are still young, you have no other choice but to do so. Tang Wulin remained silent. Even though he was young, his father had always been instructing him on how to conduct himself. He understood that everything Old Tang said was for his sake. Since I have no other choice, I will definitely succeed. Tang Wulin's expression grew resolute as he spoke this. He still wanted to go search for his parents and Enea. He also needed to help his comrades attain victory in the class promotion tournament. If not to become strong, then for what reason had he obtained these 3 treasures? It was due to these reasons that he didn't cower at all in the face of those risks. Please tell me what I need to do now, Tang Wulin said. Old Tang said, you now need to find a quiet place, a place people won't visit or disturb you for at least several days. After you have done this, you will need some sort of vessel that you can seal. You will put the 2 spirit fruits into the vessel and pour the 100-year dragon-type beast blood over it. Then you will seal the vessel and wait for the contents within it to calm. Finally, you will drink everything within the vessel. Only then will you be ready to break the first seal. Okay. Old Tang said, after you have done this, I will guide you in breaking the first seal. You must remember, however, that before you take this medicine, you must be in your best state and your heart must be tranquil. Tang Wulin opened his eyes once again and was met with the familiar sight of the forging workshop from before. Similarly, outside the workshop everything was still in chaos from the wind and rain. The hum of the wind and pitter-patter of the rain grew louder and louder. Soon it was accompanied by roaring thunder. It was as if the heavens and earth had been torn asunder. Tang Wulin glanced at the 3 treasures for a moment before taking out his soul communicator and dialing Xie's number. Hello? Wulin, why haven't you come back yet? The hurricane has already hit us. Where are you right now? Xiexie's static-filled voice fired questions at him in rapid succession. The hurricane was now affecting their communicators' transmissions. Tang Wulin calmly responded, "I'm fine. I finished my business at the Blacksmith Association before the hurricane struck, and now I'm taking shelter in my forging workshop. It's too windy and rainy outside, so I'm unable to return at the moment. Fortunately, I can just complete some forging tasks in the downtime. I'm calling you to assure you that I'm fine. Did you get all of that? Your voice is a bit fuzzy, but I could understand most of what you said. Everything is good as long as you're fine. The hurricane also came at an opportune time. Just wait for this big brother to cultivate hard for the next few days and see if I can make a breakthrough and become a two-ringed Soul Grandam Master. If I can, then we'll beat up those bastards from Class 1. Tang Wulin said, "Don't get ahead of yourself. Safety is still our #1 priority." Xiexie let out a mischievous laugh. "You can be at ease, I'll be fine. Teacher Wu is paying special attention to me. The three of us were originally supposed to undergo special training together, but you didn't come back. I'll cover for you for a couple of days. Just quickly come back once the hurricane has died down a little." Ian. "All right." After hanging up his communicator, Tang Wulin looked at the window and the door once again. He checked that everything had been locked up before returning to the table. Getting ahead of himself? He was the one getting ahead of himself in his enthusiasm to make a breakthrough. After all, what would he become afterward? It was really easy to find a sealable vessel inside of the workshop. After all, it had been one of the first things he had learned to forge, and he could also just quickly forge it if he couldn't find one. He took the metal cup and placed it on top of the table. "Do I begin now?" "No. Old Tang said I must be in my best state. I must be calm and steady." He began meditating and regulating his breathing. He recovered some of the soul power he had expended and gradually stilled his mind. After some time had passed, he awoke from his meditative state with his body in peak condition. Amidst the sounds of the wind and rain, Tang Wulin unhesitatingly got up and put the 200-year fruits, the ice crystal fruit and the scarlet flame fruit, into the metal cup. Afterward, he swiftly opened up the porcelain bottle and poured the fishy-smelling dark violet blood into the cup. A powerful wave of energy began overflowing from the cup, causing the entire cup to begin trembling. Tang Wulin hastily covered the cup with its lid, sealing it before holding it close to his chest. A succession of explosions began to rumble within the cup. Tang Wulin nearly let go of the cup as it was scarlet red with heat. The intensity of the rumbling increased even further. The red coloring began to fade, and in its place was a layer of frost. He was vaguely able to hear the roar of a dragon within the cup. The scarlet flame fruit and ice crystal fruit were both spirit fruit treasures. After reaching 100 years, they had already gained a trace of intelligence. Fire and ice were two extremes, and together, a violent rejection would naturally occur. When restrained within the small cup, this violent rejection became even fiercer, and the two began to mutually attack the other. The 100-year dragon-type soul beast blood was what increased their effects as well as what brought the two into harmony. These three spirit items mixed together to quietly created a fantastic reaction. Tang Wulin subconsciously drew back a few steps. He had sensed that within the metal cup was a powerful energy that wanted to break free. It's not going to actually explode, right? All of my efforts would go to waste then. Fortunately, the small explosions booming within the metal cup gradually died down. The cup was now intermittently changing between a flaming red and an icy blue color as it calmed. Despite this, Tang Wulin could still sense an immensely powerful energy emanating from within the metal cup. He didn't know where this feeling came from, but it had somehow made its way into his mind. That was wrong. This feeling hadn't come naturally. It was only after he opened the bottle of dragon-type soul beast blood that this feeling came about. Everything he felt was caused by that dragon blood. Old Tang's words echoed within his mind. He didn't dare to delay and hastily stepped forward to pick up the metal cup. Its temperature was oddly normal, merely a bit warm. After unsealing the cup, a reeking, strange smell assaulted his senses, causing Tang Wulin to nearly sneeze. An indecipherable, deep purple liquid bubbled constantly within the cup, like the murky waters of a swamp. With no other choice, Tang Wulin closed his eyes, furrowed his brows, and lifted the metal cup, emptying it. Unexpectedly, the taste of the liquid wasn't as bad as it smelled, and upon entering his mouth, it gave him a miraculously warm feeling. It tasted slightly sweet and fishy and had a tang to it. As if he was consuming a sea urchin, it was both smooth and slimy and stuck to his throat before he swallowed it down. The warmth spread throughout his body, leaving him unspeakably comfortable. Tang Wulin couldn't help but release a sigh. This mouthful had costed him hundreds of thousands of Federation coins, and it was already gone. No, it might have been even more than that. Although he didn't personally buy these items, the blood of a 100-year dragon-type soul beast should have been a sought-after item that would fetch a sky-high price. What should I do now? Tang Wulin was dazed for a while, but he sobered up in a flash. Taking 2 steps back, he sat in a meditative position. He chose to avoid sitting on the chair to prevent the possibility of falling to the ground if something happened during his meditation to cause his body to react. Concentrate, meditate, and circulate soul power. This should be it. By circulating his soul power, he should be able to dissolve the effects of the medicine. Tang Wulin had a thought, how is old Tang going to help me break the first seal? Suddenly, a strange feeling overcame him from every corner of his body. It felt as though vitality was flowing into his blood, as if steam was rushing out of every pore in his body. This sudden heat left Tang Wulin feeling unbearable, and he could barely remain in his seated position. His temperature rose, his body similar to a furnace. Sweat poured from his body like a waterfall. Tang Wulin couldn't control the heat within him and started trembling violently. A faint golden pattern started appearing on his forehead, growing until they covered his whole body. The golden patterns, in the shape of rhombuses, appeared faint at first, but they slowly grew clearer. Tang Wulin's body became as red as a cooked prawn. So hot, so hot. Tang Wulin clenched his teeth and persevered, as old Tang had previously said that he should have strength, endurance, and dedication. The weak soul power within him had seemingly escaped his control and began surging throughout his body. Tang Wulin could no longer maintain his state of meditation and felt that his surroundings were turning blood red. Could it be that my body is actually melting? Tang Wulin's body trembled, and the golden webs on his body became even clearer. Suddenly, the heat disappeared like subsiding waves, and with it, the unbearably miserable feeling. After reaching equilibrium, this level of comfort would normally not be reached, but comforting relief from misery would easily cause intoxication. Currently in such a state, Tang Wulin relaxed after going through that agony and felt like his body had been thoroughly exfoliated by the immense heat previously coursing through his body. It left him with no energy, he couldn't even lift up a finger. Without waiting for his mind to relax, a sudden wave of chilliness emerged from his heart and spread throughout his body. Like the heat before, this chilliness circulated right into the depths of his body. The redness that had lingered on his skin was replaced by a pale blue. Tang Wulin's body trembled with more violence. The only thing that wasn't trembling as much was the golden web pattern. The golden web pattern had become even more distinct than before. His body began emitting biting cold instead of extreme heat, the change leaving his clothes in ruin. Torn to shreds, the scraps of clothing fell off his body. Exhausted completely, his mere rank 12 soul power was unable to relieve some of his suffering. It was so cold that his blood would freeze soon. Tang Wulin could only feel his heartbeat falling at an alarming rate, his vision blurring out. Are these the effects of the 100-year ice crystal fruit and scarlet flame fruit? It's so painful. Tang Wulin was unaware that with these 2 spirit fruits of like age, a process called fire ice body refining that could be used to increase his physical strength. This was a dangerous process for most, however, as the sudden change from temperature extremes could cause a weakling to collapse. To prevent that, a fruit with balancing properties of higher age was necessary to ensure safety. More importantly, the body refining process required a soul master with a significantly higher cultivation to guide and protect the body refiner. To Mu Chen, it was obvious that Mang Qian would help guide Tang Wulin in the process, but he didn't expect Tang Wulin to have consumed all 3 spirit items by himself, alone. These were 100-year spirit fruits, and even a soul elder with 3 rings would have been hurt badly in the process, leaving hidden traces of incurable diseases in them. Not to mention the fact that Tang Wulin had merely cultivated to rank 12 soul power. Finally, after an unknown period of time, the extreme cold subsided, and Tang Wulin's mental state recovered. Paralyzed, he could only feel numbness throughout his body, as if his body was no longer his. Despite this, he felt strangely clear-headed and could clearly see the patterns of golden webs shimmering brightly on his body, as though his body was wrapped up within a huge web. "Old Tang, where are you? What should I do?" Tang Wulin thought mentally. But old Tang didn't reply him at all, as if his existence had always been a mere nightmare. Tang Wulin knew he had no other routes to escape to, so he could do nothing other than allowing these 3 spiritual items to wreak havoc within his body. At this time, his body regained mobility, and he felt the comfortable feeling once again. He did not let his guard down, however. First was the immense heat followed by extreme coldness. What would be the effects of the dragon-type soul beast's blood? What type of suffering would it be this time? The facts had proven his guess right. Immense heat and extreme coldness were both unbearable, but they were nothing compared to what he felt next. It seemed as if there were tiny ants slowly crawling up his limbs and drilling into his muscles, organs, and bones. Ah! Tang Wulin couldn't bear it anymore and screamed bitterly. He wanted to scratch at the sensations, but his body wouldn't move at all. Even worse was his mind's currently exceptional clarity. He could fully experience the inhumane agony. This suffering was too hard to bear with. Why? Why did this happen? Tang Wulin's whole body shook violently. "Can't take it, I can't take it anymore. If you can't take this, then only death awaits you. If you want to live on, you have to bear this. If you are able to face any sufferings bravely, you will be able to overcome them. Learn to persevere and the doors to success will open to you." Old Tang's voice finally appeared once again, but he sounded somber this time. Tang Wulin's spirit shook. "That's right. I can't give up. If I can't break the seal, I would only be greeted with death. I can't die. There are still many things I have yet to accomplish. I want to be strong. I want to be a powerful mecha master and to be able to use a mecha crafted out of the metals I forged myself. I need to search for Mom and Dad too, and Enea as well. I want to become a powerful soul master and a powerful mecha master. I want to live on. There are so many beautiful things for me to experience in this world." In his heart, a strong feeling of defiance grew within, and it seemingly reduced his suffering as well as the numbness and itchiness which retreated from his bones and back to his spine. What Tang Wulin couldn't see was the change in color of the web patterns on his body, as it had turned from gold to purple. The purple color didn't stay for long, the patterns shifting back to a gold that shone even brighter than before. It was as if the purplish color had nourished the golden pattern before subsiding thereafter. Tang Wulin's numbness and itchiness gradually disappeared as well, and he panted heavily. Feeling returned to his body once again, and he realized that he could move all his limbs. What is happening? Could it be that I have recovered already? It's done? Has the seal been broken? Be prepared, this is just the beginning. Old Tang's icy voice resounded within his mind. This is just the beginning? 3 feelings, immense heat, extreme cold, as well as numbness and itchiness, had all reappeared suddenly without giving Tang Wulin any time to react. At that point, Tang Wulin felt as though he had been engulfed. As he continued releasing his piercing screams, his vision gradually turned white. This video will end here.